It's time to get all your Star Wars news in a single file. From Fantatrax TV, this is Good Morning Tatooine!
Good morning, Tatooine. I hope you're live. We're having all sorts of technical problems as we launch the show. This is the third week running. I'm assuming everything's freezing, about as freezing as it is outside, -11 this evening, so joys of all joys. We've got lots of news to cover, so let's get straight into it. First up, Iron Studios have got a new Obi-Wan and young Leia art scale 1/10 figure out. We're going to be checking that out. The Vintage Collection is adding an ATSD with Chewbacca. We'll be looking at that. Sadly, ILM model shop sculptor Richard Miller has passed away. We'll be reflecting on his work and career. Darth Elvis, our good friend, is retiring from live performances at CANTINA 2 at Star Wars Celebration next year. We'll be talking about that. We'll also be looking at Bring Home the Galaxy week 8 with all the products from Lucasfilm on display. And a couple of exciting trailers as well this week. The Bad Batch Season 2 and the game Star Wars Jedi Survivor has also revealed its trailer ahead of its launch. To discuss this and much, much more from Fantatrax.com, Mr. Paul Naylor, welcome to the show, Paul.
Good evening, sir. Good evening.
How are you?
I'm good. Been busy, sir?
Very busy indeed. It's been a busy week. Lots happening in the Star Wars galaxy and lots happening outside that as well. So,
Absolutely.
About yourself, how's your week been?
Well, we've not had much snow. I'm a bit gutted. You seem to have had it all. But other than that, yeah, it's been busy. I've made some good business connections, so I'm looking to explore those. Been working on some business magazines that I put together and a tree project, which is very cool, very random. But yeah, been busy. Been very busy.
Excellent indeed. Let's get cracking and get stuck straight into the news because there's lots to cover this week. And first up, we've got a really nice new product from Iron Studios. It's straight out of the Obi-Wan TV show. We've got Obi-Wan and young Leia, art scale 1/10 deluxe figure. Really beautifully done, and you can put your deposit down now, and it'll be in your arms for next Christmas, anyway, next autumn, I believe, at $199.99. Really lovely piece, isn't it?
It's very nice. Some of the photos I've seen of this close up, I think the Ewan McGregor has been captured particularly well. Not so sure about young Vivian, not quite as good, but still a nice sculpture. And we've not really had much merchandise featuring young Leia, so it's nice to see something of her anyway. I think this is from when they land on the planet when it looks very much like Coruscant, doesn't it? Where we see the clone that's begging for a hot meal. But yeah, no, really nice sculpt, but I just wasn't too sure, particularly around the hair on the young Leia. But other than that, yeah, looking really cool.
The only thing it always disappoints me is this things. I'm not a big fan of having to put down deposits on things.
Yeah.
And, especially when you're dealing with big companies and putting down a $40 deposit.
I
And having to
suppose it
wait
does show,
almost a year is kind of rough, I think.
it does show some commitment, I suppose, that you're going to be purchasing it. Even worse, there are some places where they take all the money from you rather than just a deposit. So I suppose we should be thankful for that. But yeah, I agree with you though. It would be nice if it was sort of launched closer to the actual date when it was being dispatched rather than a year down the line.
Yeah.
Always feels a bit weird.
Um, our second product this week from the Vintage Collection, ATST and Chewbacca. Lovely design. As everything in the Vintage Collection is just that really lovely classic look to it. Shocking price, I think at $90 is pretty steep. However,
Yeah.
but, coming spring 2023 as part of the 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi celebrations.
Yeah, there's been some mixed opinions on this one because it's essentially a repack of what's gone before. And even the Chewbacca figure that's packaged with it, which is a nice idea because obviously there's that really cool scene where we see Chewbacca outside the Endor bunker in the ATS scene. He sort of lifts the hatch and up pops Chewie. But the Chewbacca that's packaged with this isn't even on a card back; it's just in a loose baggie, and it's a previously released Sculptor Chewie anyway. I think there was some rumor somewhere that they've strengthened the legs, but whoop-de-doo. It's a little bit of a lazy one, unfortunately.
What do you call it? ATST? Chicken Walker?
Now, I've always called the AT-AT an AT-AT, but the ATST has always been an ATST, so go figure. But yeah, I suppose because AT never really worked, did it? But we were so used to calling an AT-AT an AT-AT, that's how it was for me. But I don't know, have we got photos as well of the bunker that's been released?
We don't. I should have had that this week.
Yeah.
We had,
but
obviously this week on fantatracks.com, we had the exclusive first reveal of the Endor bunker as well.
That's right.
I didn't pick that as one of my stories of the week.
Well,
Schoolboy error.
We don't need a picture of it. We've been all over this, right? It's fine. But just to add that there's been equal sort of disparaging comments about that because it is essentially a repack. Even the figure that comes with it, which is the biker, well, the Endor trooper in biker scout disguise. I forget
Rex.
Yes, well, that's what he's been rebranded as in many territories, isn't it? But yeah, that figure is essentially a repeat of one from many years ago. So again, a little bit lazy. Yes, we can all appreciate that the 40th anniversary of Jedi is coming up, and it needed to be Jedi focused. But I'd have liked to have seen a Black Series bunker. That would have been cool, and that wouldn't have been too hard to do. So, but yeah, cool, but just about misses the mark room.
Yeah. So none of that product's going to be ending up in your Santa sack this year.
Nah.
Yeah. Pass on then.
Yeah. Nah.
We'll see if we can find something for you in the Bring Home the Galaxy selection in a little bit.
Well, let's have a look. I mean, there was some interesting, weird stuff in this, so let's go for
it. Yeah. First up, I want to talk about the ILM model sculptor Richard Miller, who sadly passed away this past week. You won't find much information out there in the world because he was quite a quiet guy, didn't do interviews, but he did a lot of teaching, so you'll find a lot of his students on social media talking about how he influenced their career, and he's got some career really. He's been 30 years at ILM, did Star Trek, Jumanji, Flubber, Pirates of the Caribbean, The Mask, Indiana Jones, Terminator, you name it, some selection of his work there on the desk in front of him. And perhaps best known to Star Wars fans, he was a sculptor who did Princess Leia's slave bikini for Return of the Jedi, which is always something you're not supposed to talk about now. It's like the secret past of Star Wars. It's like you don't get anything slave Leia anymore. But this is a guy who was brought in to design it, and very strangely brought in just by chance because he'd had coffee with Lauren Peterson just the week before, and he happened to be working on designs that were very similar to what they were looking to do for Return of the Jedi. So by chance, he was brought in for that and stuck around at ILM for the next 30 years and quite an illustrious career.
I can't believe Lorne didn't do that job himself. I mean, not to say anything too rude, but I'd have been all over that. But no, I think it's you're right. Richard's been very sort of quiet about the projects he's worked on. He's clearly somebody that's enjoyed his work and has been key to a load of franchises. Ghostbusters was another one. I don't think you mentioned that one. So, but
Nope,
yeah,
that was it.
he's been attached to absolutely loads of things that we've grown up with and loved. And clearly, he was very passionate about it, but didn't feel the need to go out there and talk to the
Yep.
public about it. So, in many ways, I can respect that. He's been involved in some classic stuff. Leia's bikini being one of them. I think he was also quite pivotal in a lot of the prequel trilogy as well.
Yeah, he did a lot of the sculptures around Coruscant and the Jedi temples and so on. So a lot
Yeah,
of the huge
those
character
statues.
sculptures you see there
Yeah,
around the Emperor's apartment, around the Jedi temple, were his work as well.
yeah. So he's been very important to us, but very quiet about it. And yeah, he will be a huge loss to filmmaking, no doubt.
Yeah,
Bless
and
him.
the great thing is he's been involved heavily in teaching as well, and a lot of people have been
Yeah,
taught by him, and he's passed on his talents to very many people. So his legacy is going to live on through them as well.
absolutely superb. Yeah, what a
Yeah,
man. What a top man.
yeah. Next up, more sad news, I guess, and our good friend, the Dark King of the Sith, Darth Elvis, is going to be hanging up the mic for live performances. Cantina 2, which is going to take place at the Indigo in the O2 during Star Wars Celebration weekend, is going to be his last live appearance. Although he will still be making his videos and studio work, so it's not the end of Darth Elvis completely, but the last time you'll be able to see him live.
Apparently. Now, I've had a word with Greg and I said, come on, you've got to go down the Sean Connery route on this one. Never say never again. I'm hoping that this is just a temporary sort of end to his live performances. I can see some return at some point. But, folks, if you haven't seen Greg performing as Darth Elvis, you're really missing a treat. I mean, we're talking somebody who owns that stage as, I suppose, an irreverent comedy sort of send up of Elvis, but done very seriously and very sort of thoughtfully. The mannerisms was perfect. The jumpsuit is tight, and it's everything you could want it to be. I mean, it's a great lineup. Again, it's very similar to what we had at the first celebration, but we also got DJ Elliott joining things, popping over from the States. DJ Elliott, big friend of Fantatrax. We've seen him and spent time with him many times at Celebration over in the States. Level Up Leroy, who is, I suppose, the UK version of DJ Elliott. He's really cornered the market in sort of geeky sort of events and music events, and he does a fantastic job. His visual show is as good as his sound show. He's really got a knack for it. Both of those are great guys. Blues Harvest, which obviously features Fanta Andy Liff on drums. It's always great to see them. And and of course Darth Elvis.
A
The fact that
special, as yet unannounced main act as well to come.
there is an unannounced main act. I mean, I have checked tonight with the powers that be whether we can reveal that, and we can't. But we're allowed to drop hints. So apparently, it's going to be. Achoo! Excuse me, I can't really say any more than that. Achoo! There you go. And but yeah, Darth Elvis. The fact that he's going down the Beatles route, whereby he's not going to tour anymore, but he's still going to release material. We can only hope that he has many years of releasing very bizarre Star Warsy, Elvisy mashups. What a man! We salute you, Greg. Top fella.
And of course, you'll still be able to find him on Desert Planet Discs if you check out the Fantatrax podcast. Go to your podcaster of choice, type in Fantatrax Radio. You will find Greg and Carl's Desert Planet Discs on the Friday rotation of the shows.
Yeah,
always a great listen as they check out all the sort of fan-produced Star Wars music.
Carl, who drums in more bands than I can even list.
Here's a chance as well. Plug your own show. Start your engines.
Ah, yes, yes. What a classic show that is. So we will be recording the next episode very soon once mine and Mark's calendars line up. I can't remember which one we said we were going to go for this next time. I think it might be the fire spray.
Oh, okay.
Which, for those of you who don't know what that is Boba Fett's starship. And for those of you who can't respect that one, it's Slave One, everyone. It's Slave One.
We're breaking out all the slave comments today. It's Slave One is Boba's ship. It's a slave
Slave One.
bikini. Let's just call it what it is. Old school, keeping it old
Keep it
school.
real. Keep it real.
Yeah. So you're always on there with Mr. Newbold, who also does making tracks whilst we're dropping the plugs.
Yep.
And you can check that out on Phantom Tracks Radio as well. He's been at Farthest From and Fording Bridge this past weekend, so he's been hosting a few panels down there and interviewing guests. I'm sure he'll have content for the coming weeks for making tracks as well for some festive listening.
I'm sure he's done some recordings while he's been down there. Absolutely.
So that's a good few plugs in there for Phantom Tracks Radio. we should move on to some more news. Next up on the news front, we have reached week 8 of 9 of Bring Home the Galaxy.
It is what they want.
Lucasfilm's how would you call it?
B&M.
Yeah, their cash push. We've got a whole host of product offerings this week from them. In the clothing, they've got Columbia's hats and jackets, which we checked out last week. All very nice stuff, all very appropriate for the current weather climate here in the UK.
Absolutely. They couldn't have turned up sooner.
No. We've also got in the toys and collectibles, The Mandalorian season 3 is just on the horizon, so that is coming back into fashion.
Yeah, coming back into fashion.
Yeah. All sorts of tat. If you're looking for something for Mr. Newbold for Christmas, there's plenty in there that would do well in his Echo-based collecting room, I think. And as Mr. Booker calls it, merch pimpage. That is what Bringing Home the Galaxy has become. There on the right-hand side is the bunker, the much alluded to bunker.
See, you have remembered it.
I did remember it. It's just in there in a small image. You can go and check that out on phantomtracks.com if you want to find out more about the Endor bunker, which is part of the vintage collection.
Yeah, it's all good stuff.
Yeah, Mr. Booker pointing out that the Columbia blue hoodie looks good on Mr. Newbold. Check out our social media if you want to see that.
I didn't know they did them that big.
Yeah. Jewellery range from Rock Love as well. You've got Ahsoka Tano or Darth Maul there.
I quite like. Yeah, I quite like that.
Yeah. We were commenting, Matt there letting us know as well that the bunker's actually sold out and pre-order everywhere, which is interesting. That's what happens when you saddle up with phantomtracks.com for some promotion. We get your products sold.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, there's been criticism out there, but people still want it.
Yeah, definitely. Not blown away with the jewellery range, I'm afraid. I'd go for a baby Grogu mug, maybe. We've got the traditional memes that are 3 years too late and eat, sleep, rule the galaxy, repeat.
Nice, yeah. That's a bit old hat, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. And something that's been a huge part of Bring Home the Galaxy is a wide selection of bags. Boba Fett one's okay. It's quite a good looking convention kind of bag.
I like that. Yeah, I'd wear that to a convention. Absolutely.
And these ones who, I think this is, I forget the name of the company now. Vera something other bags, I think. Someone in the comments will know.
Vera Wang, sure.
Yeah. And all sorts of prints as well. You don't want the one with the droids, surely. I do quite like this Obi-Wan though. It's kind of quite artistic.
Yeah, that's nice. And the Falcon one's cool.
Yep. And Return of the Jedi, Al Williamson art on that as well, which is something I might actually pick up. So
Yeah,
they
that
maybe
is nice.
got me this week. It's taken them maybe to week 8 out of 9 to get me to buy something, but I might buy that. Vera Bradley, thank you, Matt. Knew someone would know.
He's feverishly Googling away for us in the background. Good man.
Yeah. Anything out of this week that you would like Santa to turn up in a couple of weeks with?
I'd quite like those Kyber crystal necklaces. I thought those were quite cool.
Okay. What one are you going for?
I'm not saying I'd wear it myself, but you know, I can see Mandy wearing it. You know, I'd probably go for the. Probably go for the Darth Maul one. It's quite cool.
I'm trying to flick back to find it. There we
You're
go.
You're almost there.
There
you go. There you go.
Darth Maul.
Yeah. Yeah, it's nice. That is. It's different, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, but I mean, if I can find somewhere where the bunker hasn't sold out, then you know, that's a possibility.
That's your wish list for Christmas.
Well, I don't know. I'm more into collecting the retro series of figures now, sort of blending them with my old ones. But yeah. Who knows? Maybe.
Yeah.
Thing is, if I start buying the vintage line, I'll commit to that. And no, too expensive.
We've got one more week of Bring Home the Galaxy. Are we going to get a really outstanding product for the final week?
Maybe, well, perhaps we'll get something Black Series that ties into Return of the Jedi. I suspect we're going to get. Hello there, Rudolph. I suspect we're going to get some sort of re-release of the Jabba the Hutt Black Series, and I think we'll probably get him on the throne. I don't mean the toilet. We'll get him on his throne, and I don't think we could even hope to get Leia the Hutt Slayer, shall we call her? That's unlikely to happen. But
that is kind of what everybody's wanting for the 40th anniversary to be.
Of course they
honest.
do, yeah.
Yeah.
Of course they do. Yeah.
There we go. There's only one reaction to Lucasfilm for the decision to ban that, and that's this.
Chuck a snowball at him.
Matt also helpfully pointing out there that if you are still looking for the Endor bunker, go to your local comic book shop. Their orders for them will be opening up soon, so you'll be able to place your pre-order via them.
Brilliant. Cheers, Matt.
And that brings us on to the next news item. Bad Batch Season 2 trailer has landed this past week.
Yeah.
Kind of got a strange launch because it appeared on Disney Plus before it appeared anywhere else.
Yeah.
And then it had like a very strange trailer where the trailer seemed to be online on YouTube seemed to be targeted towards parents rather than anybody else, because it was kind of odd. But Bad Batch Season 2 is going to be landing on Disney Plus from January the 4th. So not as long a wait as we kind of thought. It's coming straight at the start of the year. And we're going to get a little bit of a time jump before Season 2. A few months have passed since the events on Camino, so those of you that are fans of the series will be looking forward to this at the start of the new year. Has it been a show you've been checking out?
You know what? I'm a bit like you. I'm not a massive fan of animation, but of all the ones that I've had a look at, Bad Batch is the one that I've watched all the episodes of. I did really enjoy it. I thought it was really good. So yeah, I am looking forward to Season 2, but I thought the trailer was a little bit weak. It was a bit it almost felt like it almost felt like a part of an episode rather than a trailer to a series. It probably is all from the first one or two episodes. I don't know, but I don't know. I'm hoping that we get more characters blended into this from other films and animations than we got in the first season. Because we had a Rancor in the first season, so that was nice to see that. Who'd have thought we'd have got one in Book of Boba Fett as well? But yeah, it's a cool little series. it's definitely worth a watch. Have you seen it, Brian? You probably haven't. Have you?
I've seen elements of it. I haven't really
Yeah,
checked out in any sort of degree.
yeah. No, it is one that I've certainly bought into above and beyond the Clone Wars. Even I think the main problem I had with the Clone Wars was it jumped all over the place timeline wise. I know that there are definitive watching orders that have been put out there by the fans, but I can't be bothered to go through all that. Just give it me how you want it. Yeah, it's I probably will rewatch the last 2 or 3 episodes of the first season just to give me a reminder before I go into this. But yeah, looking forward to that. Yeah.
A bit of excitement for it online, but a lot of people not happy with the Bad Batch because they venture so far away from what the clones were. People just don't like the whole premise of this group of characters that would appear. So,
Well, I mean, that's the whole point of them is that they are a rogue batch of clones. They're unlike any other clones. So I suppose the fact that people are complaining about that is that they're kind of missing the point. They are meant to be totally unlike Rex and any of the other clones that you could think of. Cody, there's another one. They're nothing like those. They are mutations, particularly Wrecker. So yeah, no, I like it. It's quirky.
Yep. And that brings us conveniently enough to the last news item of the week, and which is another trailer, and Jedi Survivor, which is a sequel to Jedi Fallen Order, the first person, I guess, game that really kind of pleased everyone. It got a huge reaction, a very positive reaction first time around. Star Wars Jedi Survivor, the sequel, is coming to the next generation of games, so PlayStation 5, Xbox Series, and Windows PC as well. So I'll be missing out because I'm still PS4. So I'm not at the point where I feel like I want to jump to the next generation, and probably can't get them in stock anyway. It appears that PlayStations are like gold dust still. I'm a PlayStation guy. I can't go Xbox. It doesn't feel right at this stage. I've gone all four previous generations, so I'm committed.
My last PlayStation was a PlayStation 2, so I can't really comment.
That was the best of all PlayStations.
There was some good stuff on that. No, my son's got the Xbox, and he has got Fallen Order. I'm trying to think if I've ever actually played it. I don't think I've even played it. I've seen him play it, and it does look impressive. I think the character of Cal Kestis has really been embraced by people, and I can see him turning up live action at some point.
Well, they kind of dropped elements of Jedi Fallen Order into the Mandalorian as well, in terms of just different items and name drops and so on. So,
well, we have the droid as well. It was on Tatooine. So I'm just not a gamer these days, unfortunately, but I can see the attraction to it. I'm sure they're really good story arcs, but is it something you've played? Have you played the game at all?
I played Fallen Order, really loved that, so kind of disappointed I'm probably going to miss out on this one. At least at launch, I'll probably pick it up. I'm so sad I'll probably pick up the game even though I can't play it. But I'm playing FIFA 2023 at the moment. That's what I'm playing. I'm not a huge gamer, but I actually picked that up. Do we want to talk about the World Cup? It has got a World Cup section in it. No, don't want to talk about the World Cup. Sure.
No, unless you want to talk about referees.
Yeah. Penalties and anything. Penalties in it are good.
No comment.
No. Mbappe's on the front cover of it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Is he laughing?
He's laughing. He's smiling. Big smile on his face.
Beep.
Bad weekend for supporters of English football.
Yeah.
Happy
No
days
comment.
in Scotland.
All right.
Let's keep it Star Wars and check out this trailer. I think is the best course of action. Let me find it. Here we go. Let's check it out. So there is Cal Kestis. Taking a photograph of someone in their underwear is not a great start.
Oh dear.
But yeah, the gameplay looks just as fantastic as the cutscenes, which is always a great thing, because you always worry when you see trailers and it's all cutscenes.
That's right. Yeah.
As to how the gameplay is going to play out. But yeah, we did see a good few examples of gameplay in here, and it looks fantastic again. And
When is the storyline set? What period of time is it?
oh, now you're telling me. Now you're asking me the terrible question that I don't know the answer to. But I believe it's set around about the same kind of time period as the Mandalorian. I'm going to check. Because you've asked a question, I'm gonna have to bring up Google.
I'm waiting for Matt to chip in. I'm sure Matt knows. It does look really impressive. Was that a Wampa?
It kind of was a Wampa, wasn't it? It was like a wild Wampa.
Yeah, like a brown Wampa rather than a white one.
Yeah. But yeah, just the graphic works on this. It's going to be a big year, I think, for Star Wars gaming. I'm expecting quite a lot of information released at Celebration as to the future of Star Wars gaming. There's a lot of things on the cusp of being done.
That scene there was very reminiscent of Kylo Ren at the beginning of The Force Awakens with the laser blast frozen.
Takes place 5 years after the events of Revenge of the Sith.
Okay.
So just ahead of the sort of A New Hope, kind of in between that gap between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope. So a lot earlier than I was saying. I was saying it was timed in with The Mandalorian. I was completely wrong.
Well, we could get an old version of him, providing he makes it that far in.
And as Matt says, a Swampa Wampa is the best way to describe it.
Just call it a Swamper. Yeah, I like
that. So, not a big gamer, not something you're going to pick up, but something that you can recognise the quality of it.
I'm sure it's something that my son will have. He's also got a Switch. Will it be coming out on that? I'm sure the version of it might come out on the Switch.
No idea.
That's it. Yeah, there's a gateway to it for you, Brian. That's a bit cheaper. Get one of them.
Yeah. It's the big thing, I think, is the next generation of consoles. You can understand how they've drawn the line and said, right, we're not going back. We're sticking with the high end, and it is to deliver on the graphic side of things.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, they launched during the pandemic, didn't they? So it's been a very slow rollout, and understandably, with components being quite scarce, then it's been probably more difficult to get hold of this generation than it has previous ones.
Yeah, and I think most of the games have been coming out on, for example, PS4 and PS5. There hasn't been too many games that have kind of drawn the line, so I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of that going forward as well.
Yeah, this is what does tend to happen when they change the generation of the machine. You'll get a year or two where you'll get it on both, and then suddenly they'll cut the previous version out of the equation, forcing people into buying the hardware. But that's all well and good as long as it's readily available. I mean, I can understand it at the moment with everything that's gone on, but in the past, when they've done that, when scarcity seems to have been a man-made scarcity, they've done it. They've decided to make it a scarce product. I've never understood that logic. When they could have sold shed loads more units.
And it's always kind of been the same when it's come to games consoles, but I think it's been worse than ever the latest generation. But it seems to be all products at the moment. I was in, I'll not name and shame them, but a major UK electrical store that's very similarly named to an Indian takeaway, and and they had maybe 25 laptops on display, but only 2 of them in stock. But no signs up saying that. So you're looking at this laptop for 15 minutes. Go, oh, look, quite interested in this one. Have you got this one in stock? No, don't have that in stock. Then we'd find another one, having spent another 10 minutes, and oh, don't have that one either.
Yeah, we can order it in, but don't know when it'll get here. Yeah.
No, they weren't even taking orders for it. They just didn't have it. So
really?
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Shocking.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's the way of the world at the moment. It's not going to improve anytime soon. Getting components is very difficult for everybody, I think.
Well, I've just taken. I've just managed to get my new car, which I ordered 6 months ago. It took 6 months to get this my car to. It's not a Ferrari.
I was going to say, it's a sports car.
I mean, it goes okay, but no, I mean, yeah, it anything with a bit of technology attached to it is a nightmare to get hold of at the moment. So, yeah, but I'm sure my son will have that in one form or another. Yeah.
And that is us at the end of this week's news. Would you believe it?
Wow.
We've rattled through that in no time at all. And there's going to be lots more news coming up, I'm sure, this coming week on fathertracks.com. We'll be covering it every day as normal. As we spoke about earlier, you can catch us on Father Tracks Radio as well. You'll be appearing there, I'm sure. And you can also check out the back catalogue of shows as well on that. And Father Tracks TV as well. The show will be back next weekend. Not planning on it being live. However, we're going to go different next week. We're going to have a Christmas special. Not entirely sure what's going to be the special element of it as yet. But I'll be figuring that out over the next couple of nights.
It'll have an Easter theme. That's how special it's going to be.
I'll have an end of year wrap kind of theme. We'll be recapping perhaps the news and announcements and releases of the year, I think.
Excellent.
Yep.
Well, good luck with that.
Good luck with that. That'll be interesting, that's for sure. So, as this is probably the last live show of the year, because we'll be taking 2 weeks off, because I don't think many people's going to be checking in on Christmas Day and New Year's Day. I certainly won't be on New Year's Day. I'll be hungover.
We should do one that day. It'd be hilarious.
We probably should do. Just the aftermath. So thank you everyone who's checked out the show over the course of the year. Your comments, feedback, and viewership is very much appreciated. I've enjoyed it. Again, to everybody that checks out Father Tracks every week, whether it's on our social media, reading the articles, commenting on things, we appreciate all that as well, and all the people that listen to Father Tracks Radio as well. I know the guys and girls over in Father Tracks Radio appreciate the feedback from the listeners as well. It's much appreciated. So we'll take this opportunity to wish everybody a very Merry Christmas, or whatever other holiday that you celebrate. And even if you don't celebrate holidays this year, just enjoy getting time off work on the back of everybody else's religious beliefs, and have a good new year as well. Paul's loving that.
Isn't it great how we have to tiptoe around everything these days? Just having a really good time, folks.
Yeah, just have a good time off everyone else's religious beliefs. That's just the way I see it now. It's like, there you go. Hope Santa's good to everybody. And if you've been naughty, it's your own fault. Paul, have you got any messages for the end of the year?
Yeah, just a big thank you to you, Bri, for asking me to come on quite a few times this year. And always enjoy it. It's always good fun chatting Star Wars. It's great sharing the banter with the viewers when we get the messages from them as well, which is great. Love being part of Panther Tracks. Love everything that we do, the events that we go to. The coverage that we produce, and just that feeling of being connected to the saga that we all love so much. So big thank you to everybody involved with Panther Tracks. Big thank you to everybody that checks in, day out to find out the latest Star Wars news, and keep doing it, because next year, with the 40th anniversary of Return of the Jedi and all the content that's coming up, it's going to be a huge year for Star Wars. So Happy Christmas and happy holidays, everybody.
Yep, and we'll see you all in the new year. Good night, everyone.
Take care. Bye.
Keep up to date with the latest Star Wars news each and every day on FanthaTracks.com. You can also find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, Tumblr, and Pinterest at Fantha Tracks. And be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and follow Fantha Tracks TV to be alerted to new content and be a part of our live shows.